Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday live stream. So what a difference 24 hours can make. And I think Joseph Kelly actually summed it up pretty well here. Up, down, up, down, up, down. This roller coaster is making me dizzy. And we just talked yesterday about what was going on for the market to just tumble as much as it did. And we took a look at tariffs. We took a look at GDP. We took a look at a host of other factors, of course, macro, and what's going on. And today, like everything is in reverse mode. And I will tell you, there's a reason for everything, and we'll see what that is. So right now, looks like the market's doing pretty well. We're up as far as the market cap, almost at 3 trillion. Bitcoin had a nice little rally. I mean, remember, it's nice that we have a 24-hour rally, but keep your eye on the prize. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's been a little bit tumultuous. Bitcoin's been down 10%. Ethereum is down 25%. XRP 4%. Solana 30%. But of course, if we really zoom out, I mean, Bitcoin's still up and has doubled since over a year or so. So some of us are still in the black. We're doing pretty good. It just depends on when you got in. And of course, that's for the market. Now, the traditional market is a little bit different today. And it's kind of odd because sometimes they are in tandem and sometimes they are not. And over the last 5 days, we can see exactly what's been going on with the S&P 500. Matter of fact, as far as March 3rd, which was just Monday, started off pretty good and it went down quickly. And then over here, we had a little bit of a dump and a little rally before the markets closed. Markets opened today and the same thing happened. Dump, pretty big rally, and then dump again going into Wednesday. So what's happening? Well, if we take a look at the ETFs, it's not looking too good as well. We can take a look at Bitcoin ETFs and over last 24 hours or so. Actually, we only have data for, Monday. We don't have anything for Tuesday. But of course, yesterday, BlackRock continues its 6-day streak or 5-day streak, extending into a 6-day of a sell-off, selling off $78 million worth of Bitcoin. The only one that was buying was ARK Investments at $58 million. And of course, our friends over at Grayscale continue to dump because that's what they do. So what's happening? I mean, we've got a lot of dumpage here. S&P 500 is not so great, but we're doing pretty good. And it comes down to a couple things. First of all, on March 7th, we have that digital asset symposium where everybody's going to be meeting up at the White House and talk about this little thing called a strategic reserve, which we've covered in detail, which we're going to talk about a positive note moving forward. This is from Eleanor Terrett, Fox Business. And I found it interesting because people were asking, like, well, do you think it's just this? Do you think it's just this? These different assets that have been named, which would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. I'm not for sure, but I can tell you that this guest list, you can kind of see where things are going. And she states more attendees are confirming at Friday's White House Summit. Confirmation so far. Of course, Michael Saylor will be there. David Bailey, also here in Puerto Rico. Matt Hung from Paradigm, JP Richardson from Exodus. That's great, right? But everybody's like, okay, give us the good stuff. So you can see that multi-coin is going to be there. World Liberty 5, shocker, it would be Trump stuff. But this was interesting. Sergey Nazarov from Chainlink will also be attending Friday. So if you're wondering, like, are they going to add anything else to this reserve? Potentially, and maybe it would be Chainlink. So take a look at that. But again, yesterday, what we talked about as far as this strategic reserve, this accumulation, you have to get Congress to actually vote for that because the taxpayer dollar is sacred to the American government. I'm just kidding. They spend it like crazy. And they still have to get congressional approval. And the question is, well, how does that look like? Well, if you're not from the states, Congress essentially is made up of two bodies, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And the Senate, we have 50 states, so we have 2 senators per state. So we have, let me do some quick math, 100. House of Representatives depends on population, and we have so far 435 House of Representatives from the House. And of course, what it has to do is they have to vote on this, and it has to go to the House first. It has to get passed by a majority, not a supermajority, just a majority. And Senate has to also hit a majority, not a super, but a majority. So what does that look like? Well, a minimum of 218 members must vote yes to the strategic reserve to actually come through, whether they're in a stockpile, whatever form it may take. And then they can start to put that on the balance sheet and use taxpayer dollars. So if that's the case, we need 218 members of the House, and we need 51 senators to vote yes to make it go through. Well, good news, because our friends over at River did a great documentation about why things are so bullish. And we actually talked about this last week. It was, the title of the video was, "This is the most bullish video I ever put out." And if you watch that video, if you have any type of bearishness, which is fine, you're smart to be a little bearish, but you can see how there are some things forming in the background. But what this document said on, I think this was page 42, U.S. Congress is pro-Bitcoin, gaining 15 states in 2024 election. Here's the Senate. Here's the House. What do you notice? They have over 50%. And as a matter of fact, pro-Bitcoin members, the Senate has 59 of those. I did not know that, actually. House of Representatives, 289. So what do we need? 218 and 51? I think we're going to get it. So for people to say, well, it's got to go through the Congress, it's got to, hey, there you go. There's your answer. So there's good news there. Also, yesterday we talked about the different problems that are going on, the macro events and potential war, and if it actually could come to a halt for Ukraine and Russia. But of course, there was a tumultuous meeting between Zelensky and J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and didn't go too well. But then this just came out like 6 hours ago from the Kobishi letter. Breaking: Ukrainian President Zelensky says he is ready to sign the U.S. Minerals and Security Agreement at any time in any convenient format. Zelensky also said that it is regrettable that his altercation with President Trump occurred. Now, I am not a geopolitical expert or analyst, so I'm just going to stay in my lane here and just say, that's what's going on. Is that going to end the war? I'm not here to say. I'm just saying here that this is a step, I think, in the right direction for a little de-escalation, and of course for minerals. And this actually did come in this little follow-up. This comes just hours after President Trump cut off all military aid to Ukraine. If the deal can be revived, it would have market-wide implications. Will Trump come back to the table after Friday's events? I would think so. A couple of billions of dollars in the wing, and that's actually a good thing. So maybe this could actually de-escalate what's going on, and we'll see how it goes. But again, I'll stay in my lane. After this comment, tariffs. So we also talked about tariffs and how bad it was. Friend of the show, Ben, put out a nice little tweet. This is from First Squawk. It states, U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick states that Trump may roll back Canada and Mexico tariffs tomorrow. Now, this was posted, wow, this is only like a couple hours ago. So that's pretty breaking. And so Ben says, of course, this gets exhausting after a while, which is why you can tell that Ben does not really want to follow the news as much, which is probably a smarter idea. And he's right. It is kind of gets exhausting after a while, but this is good news. But it is weird because there's either I'm not getting it or there's 3D chess in the background, because this was actually put out 5 or 6 hours ago. Please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada that when he puts on a retaliatory tariff on the U.S., our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. So let's just go with this first one. Hopefully cooler heads prevail, and we'll see who wins this tariff battle. But expect a little volatility, and there you go. So that's essentially what is going on in the entire, or for what's moving some of the markets. Now, there's other things that are going on in the backgrounds, but I will say this. This is really what we should be concerned with. We want to deal with the things that we can control, not the things we can't control. It's nice that we know about these tariffs. It's nice that we know about Zelensky and the mineral rights. It's nice that we know about the ETFs. But can we change anything? No, we can't. We have to deal with our circle of influence. And I will tell you, the only thing you can really do, unless you're an aide to Zelensky, I don't know if you are, but you can just sit back and do what Senior Man said. He goes, I was told by my Bitcoin buddy 5 years ago, just buy some Bitcoin and hang on. It's been an amazing roller coaster, just like we talked about in the beginning. Zero stress with the ride this cycle. Thanks for all the crypto knowledge. And I said, if everyone did what Senior Man did, we'd have a much more relaxed space. And there's a reason why a lot of you are not so aggravated in the comment section like I do see on Twitter and X. I see a lot of people who are just lashing out for whatever reason. I think they expected one thing and went the other. But if they just do this very simple thing and just hold on, just know that not things happens overnight, you're going to be okay. So that will conclude with that piece, but I can't give you all good news, because if I give you all good news, then you float away with all this hopium and stuff. I want to remind you of one thing, which is that it's all great, it's all good, but just like we saw in the last 24 hours, yesterday was a pretty rough day. And it could have been rougher, but there was some positive news, so the market reacts. Expect other negative parts to come out and drop the market. That's just how it is. And also, I want you to remember this, which is, it doesn't matter how much you make, it's how much you keep. This is from Bitcoin News. Remember that hack from Bybit, 1.4 billion? Well, apparently, the Lazarus Group from North Korea has laundered, I think, all of it. So 500,000 ETH has been converted primarily to Bitcoin as ETH trades at 2100. Through our chain alone is processed over 5.5. And essentially what they've done is they've scattered it so much around. You can track it. I'm sure people are tracking, but they've laundered it all out. So what am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because it doesn't matter how much you make, it's how much you keep. And if you get hacked by any of these groups, all these funds are gone. So take security more serious. Try to make sure that you're putting things in a cold storage wallet device like a Ledger or a Tangem. And try not to do too many goofy things with your computer. I'm going to be putting out a video upcoming where I talk about just using a computer or a laptop that you don't use, that has no access to the internet, and use that as your essential storage device. Because if it's difficult for you, it's difficult for the hacker. And that's it for today. So look, like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. When we talk about it's time sensitive. Now let's get into a little Q&A and answer all your questions. Let's see. Where did we go? Wait, Rob, show the El Salvador news also. So which one was this? Was this the one where somebody said, stop talking about how much Bitcoin you're buying because you guys made a deal with the IMF and you're going to stop buying Bitcoin in a couple of months? Do you want to talk about that part, or do you want to talk about where Nayib Bukele says, yeah, we're going to stop in, what is it, March? We were going to stop in June of last year, and then it was August of last year, and then we're supposed to stop in December, and guess what? We're still buying. He goes, we're going to continue to buy, and that's just what it is. So you stop posting these things. So I don't know, Base, if you want to talk about that, or if you want to talk about Bukele's response. Let's see. And most of, or all of the geopolitical comments I will be ignoring today, because this isn't a geopolitical channel and I try to stay away from it. But it seems like it is infecting the comment section. I don't blame you. It is interesting. Joseph Kelly. I don't eat maple syrup, so we're good. Talking about tariffs and the imports, of course. Let's see. Oh, very good. That's what was done in the old days. New laptop never sees the internet. Yeah, exactly. You know who does this? Who turned me on to that was Jason Appleton, Crypto Crow. He has an old clunky computer that's not even his house that he used to store all his cryptocurrency. He goes, it's a real pain in the A to use that thing because I got to go over this place. I got to fire it up and do these things. He goes, but it's such a pain for me. He goes, imagine how tough it is for a hacker. Like, yeah, it's true. But Kelly is killing me. Did he say something else that I'm not familiar with? Any news from Josh of Minutes Network? Yes, we have a meeting, which I asked for the meeting to when he's going to do the TGE, or Token Generation event. And for some reason, he put it at March 14th. So take that from what you want. Sorry, man. I got tricked. A lot of people get hacked. I got to tell you, everybody talks about how Nancy Pelosi is the greatest investor of our time. But really, I think it is all the hackers. They don't have to invest anything except time itself. They don't have to invest money. They just have to screw people out of their funds. So it's a pretty shame. It's a real shame. And a lot of people lose out, and it's not reported. Because who do you report it to? You're going to report it to the FBI, FinCEN? You're going to report it to Zach XBT? What are they going to do? Try to hunt it down? No, there it is. I'm telling you, if you're hacked, kiss it goodbye. It's gone. Hey, Rob, did you hear anything cool stuff from ETHEREUM? I did not. Heard it was a pretty great place to be. Haven't really heard too much. If anything's coming out, let me know here in the comments. It'll be interesting. Need to have one original DCA show to enter the banana zone. I don't think that's what does it. But maybe. Farrar says, come Friday the 7th, we'll be off the moon again. The market lets you trade on your emotions. That's true. And I think someone put it out there, though, that some kind of moon is in alignment with some planet. So that's the real reason. What if Mr. 2 Point, what if I DCA, but I DCA too much? Depends on what you got into. Like, did you DCA into like Trump coin? That's not gonna really pay off too well. Or maybe it will, who knows? Did you DCA into like Luna? I mean, that's not coming back, obviously. But if you DCA'd into Bitcoin and it went down, it went from 108,000 to 80,000. I don't even know what it is. What is it today? 86, 87? 87. Just like we took a look at. If you feel like you've put in too much, first of all, you put in too much. Try not to sell at a loss. That's kind of not a great thing to do. But if you need funds and you're like, well, I'm going to get it, evicted from my apartment, you're probably going to have to sell. But if you don't like what's going on, just wait. That's what I always say. If you don't like what's going on, just wait. Things will change. Could change for the worse, could change for the better, but usually things don't go up forever. Things don't go down. I think we'll be okay over time. TCA into a dozen eggs. Farrar says Sailor has insider info. He knows what's coming. Perhaps. And if he does or doesn't, I mean, that's what's great about Sailor. If he does or doesn't have insider information, he would be doing the same thing, right? If Donald Trump came up to him and shook his hand and said, Michael, we're going to go super heavy. We're actually going to print money to buy Bitcoin. And he'd be like, great. And, like he knows he can't tell anybody if that was actually true. And again, that's not what I'm saying. But even if that was it, which is the highest form of FOMO you're ever going to get, and people are going to go lose their minds, it still wouldn't change the way that he does things. And that's it. Fred Canning. Did I miss a Bitcoin dominance video? No, there's this guy that does a lot of those. He's got it on lockdown. I think we're pretty good. Did Rob a meal today? Yeah, so I stopped fasting this morning. It's pretty easy. Just do like a 24 to 36 and just go my way. The tough ones are when you do like the 5-day fast. Those are tough. But hey, it works for GSP. Yeah, cool cat. Taking a different look at Sailor and says Sailor is a Judas goat. He's going to lead many to the slaughter. Time will tell. Yeah, I'm pretty good. BB says staking rewards are still paying out the same amount of tokens as one ignore price and just keep going for passive income. I mean, if you have the tokens and you have the crypto, why wouldn't you stake it? It depends though. Like if you're doing Polkadot, that's a long stake. I think it's like a 21-day. Correct me in the comments. I think it's like a 21-day cooldown period. Solana, I want to say it's between 3 and 5 days. It's not that bad. But again, Cardano did the best job out of all staking crypto projects out there, bar none. It's essentially liquid staking. You can stake it with whatever pool you want to. You can unstake when you want to. There's no cooldown period. It never leaves your wallet. There are no slashing penalties. The worst that could happen is if you pick the wrong SPO or staking pool operator and they screw up and you just don't get your rewards for that epic, which is 5 days. So, they did a great job. That's how you should do. I should ask your wife to start a channel so I can copy trade. She's pretty good at that. It's true. I watched TFTC last night, interviewing Dr. Jack Kruse. Maybe give a watch before you do the ETF thing. I decided I'm not going to go with the ETF. I'm just going to go with iTRUST, and because they have full custody service, which is through Coinbase Prime, which is the same one that BlackRock and MicroStrategy use. So I'm like, well, if it's pretty good for those billionaires or trillionaires, I should say, being BlackRock, I can just do that. So I'll have Bitcoin on iTrust in my Roth IRA. I'll have them through Coinbase Prime through iTrust for custody. I'll have them on my ledger, and I'll have them on my TANGEM. So there is no single point of failure for me, right? Unless, of course, someone breaks in my house and holds me at gunpoint and says, give me all your funds. Well, I don't have that much, but okay. And yeah, that's it. Then, what can you do? Kruse is awesome. Love iTrusts. They're good guys. Oh, nice. Just open the taxable iTrust capital custody. Sounds good. Yeah. Big A says, does anybody believe that there will be a U.S. crypto reserve if there is no crypto regulation? What congressional member would vote for that? I'm not saying they're doing that tomorrow for the vote for reserve. But from everything that I've seen, well, first of all, I didn't cover this, but Kraken just announced that the charges against them from the SEC has been dismissed. And there's a couple other ones that got dismissed just last week. And of course, there's also different congressmen that are trying to put out legislation for digital assets. So I think it's right around the corner. I think it's right there. It's just taking the time to do it. Let's see. Locksky says, my dad grounded me for 2 months for buying Bitcoin. Any advice? Don't share with him the massive profits you're going to make when everything goes up. Robert, you still allocating your memes and not your iTrust? Yes, I am. And it was a pretty reasonable play. I was going to just wait until it popped off, but it was a gamble that didn't work out so far. But thankfully, just like how memes are, you only put like a very small amount. And it was a funny thing because like I have the majority in Bitcoin, Ethereum, I had some Cardano, Solana, stuff like that. And then there was some other stuff in the middle. I think it was Toncoin. And then I put it into like 4 different meme coins, but it was like 1%. But that was last year. What was last year? Yeah, it was last year because I could do it for this year. And Dogecoin just ripped, and all of a sudden Dogecoin was like number 4 on my portfolio. Now it's not, of course, they're all down in the dumps, but maybe I should have sold from within in the account. And if you don't know that, for your iTrust account, you can trade within your Roth IRA iTrust account, and it's tax exempt because it's a retirement account. Tariffs daily change. What's next? Dan, it's a good point. Tomorrow we could hear that China just got tariffed by 55% or something. And, who knows? It's just going to be an ongoing theme. And it's going to get kind of boring. Rob will Bobby be at the White House summit on Friday. Bobby couldn't even get in as the doorman. So no. What's next for Solana? I don't know. Ben had a pretty good video on that one. And he thinks it's not going to do so great. But then, there's other people that say it does. Like James from Invest Answers thinks it's going to do pretty awesome. And to be fair, Ben's been right so far on the Bitcoin dominance, and James has been right about Solana. So who knows what's going to happen. I just say I leave that to the brainiacs, and I'll just dollar cost average. Let's see. Senior Man says, hey, Rob, does iTrust allow a crypto deposit? Can you deposit crypto, or do you have to cash out if using crypto to fund account? Thanks for that. No. So this is one of those things where it's about safety. So they don't allow crypto to be put into an account because what they want to do, everything has to be allocated by cash, dollars, fiat. Why is that important? It's important because when you start to move around crypto from one wallet to another wallet, you're exposing yourself, even if it is to iTRUST. So what they do is they take those funds, transfer it over to Coinbase Prime and say, this is what we want you to store for this particular person. And we want everything, of course, air gapped and locked and cold storage, all that great stuff. So now there is none of that like, oh, well, it went to this wallet and this wallet and this wallet. Just like what we saw with Bybit. We're like, oh, we had it. And then some hacker got access to our user interface for our website. And of course, it's all gone now. So there's none of that stuff. And I got to tell you, I mean, iTrust is taking this very, very seriously. And I don't blame him. Bullish on retardify. No. Can't they stop using the word breaking on crypto Twitter? No, they can't. It's like when you watch the mainstream media, either channel, you'll see like breaking on everything. Breaking this, breaking that, breaking. That's just how it is. Let's see. Rob, did you see CH talking about Ergo being Cardano's partner chain? Ergo. Ah, interesting. We'll see how that works out. I will tell you, though, as far as like price action, Cardano's got to be the winner here, right? For the last, this huge roller coaster. I mean, it's almost back at $1. Let's see, which one? Yeah, XRP. No, I think Cardano's the winner for these last 3 days. However, saying all that, I like Cardano, and I like all the ones that were actually mentioned. But having said that, Cardano's all-time high was how much? Like $3. So Solana's already hit that this cycle. They've made a new one, and XRP was close to it, but Cardano has not even come close. Maybe there's just more room to run. Who knows? Why is ADA doing so well? It was named as one of the partners, Strategic Reserve, but we'll see. Maybe there's something else that's going on. I heard potentially that Charles may be in attendance for that event on March 7th. We'll see. Joe says, because of all the narratives, Chris. Yeah, that could be it too. I thought Sui is the next soul. Sui could have been the next soul, but Sui wasn't mentioned. So now everybody's paying laser focus on attention to all these stockpiles, digital assets. And I think that's it. Oh, Jimmy says, and this will be the last one. Hey, Rob, what do you think the markets will do during tonight's Trump address to Congress? Pump or dump? I will tell you this, Jimmy. To me, it doesn't matter. And my hope is that it dumps the market, because right now I am actively back at accumulating certain cryptos. And if you just know what we talk about as far as like risk levels, you'll know which ones I'm buying. Bitcoin is obviously one more of them. And if it dumps, man, that's awesome. Because I get to wake up tomorrow and go, well, I get some pretty cheap Bitcoin. And that's it for tonight. So look, everybody, let's get out of here. It's dark. It's late. Like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. That's it for this one. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Adios. Have a great rest of your night or